Welcome to the University of Southampton Archives and Special Collections podcast. In this episode of our series, My Day Was Not an Idle One, Lord Palmerston and the Broadlands Estate exhibition, we'll be looking at a brief letter written by a young Henry John Temple, later 3rd Viscount Palmerston, to his mother Mary Mee during his time as a student at Harrow School. To help us uncover this story behind the document, Archivist Russell will be talking to myself, Karen, who's the head of Archives and Special Collections. So Russell, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about this item and where it fits into the exhibition?
Thanks, Karen. Yes, so the letter we're talking about today is dated the 23rd of June, 1799, and it was written by the young Henry John Temple to his mother. He was known to Harry as his family. The letter is item number 3 in the exhibition, and it can be found in case 1, which focuses on both Palmerston's early life as well as his later political career.
Intriguing. So what does Harry write to his mother about?
So the letter, which is rather short, is mostly a complaint about the Harrow Fair, which Harry describes as stupid.
Oh, that's a very juvenile judgment. Why was he so unimpressed?
Yeah, so apparently none of the usual amusements that he was familiar with were to be seen at that year's fair. The fun events that he'd seen in the past included ass racing, which is men riding on donkeys or asses, backswording, men running through horse collars for 6 pennies worth of tobacco, or men running tied up to their necks in sacks. But this time there were few amusing things to be seen, so he left early and he actually went to bathe at Perryvale, which is a couple of miles south of Harrow.
Well, those sound like quite amazing activities. What is backswording?
Yes, so backswording was a pretty violent sport where 2 combatants would try and hit each other over the head with their backswords in order to draw blood, and the first to draw an inch of blood was declared the winner. It was an ancient sport and it was played at country fairs and revels for hundreds of years. A modified, much safer version is still played today, actually.
Sounds quite amazing. Apart from complaining about the Harrow Fair, what else does he write to his mother about?
Yes, so Harry also writes to ask his mother to confirm if she will be dining at Harrow on their speech day. So I guess he wanted to be prepared for his mother's arrival. He also mentions that he has a new teacher with a limp, shares some of the rather cruel nicknames that his classmates were devising.
Well, I'd be quite interested in the cruel nicknames. But what about this letter in particular do you find interesting?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things about this letter that I like. I like how it brings Palmerston down to earth. So I'm used to thinking of him as a very serious statesman, as a foreign secretary and a prime minister and so on. But here he is as a 14-year-old moaning to his mother in a rather entitled, adolescent kind of a way. So I like that. But I also like that it shows someone like Palmerston, someone from a very high status world, enjoying the freedom as a student to mix with the social life of ordinary people at a country fair and enjoying or noticing the absence of popular games.
Mm-hmm. It's also nice to see him relating these things to his mother.
Yes, that is nice. There's an openness and there's a fondness that comes through in this letter a little bit.
Mm-hmm. We have other letters relating to Palmerston's early education in our archives that very much complement this one. That includes correspondence between his mother and Professor Dugdale Stewart, who's a family friend, but also was Harry's tutor at the University of Edinburgh.
Yes, that's right. And we also have another letter from Harry at Harrow in case 1. So this is item number 2. And in this letter, he asks his mother to send him a burning glass.
That sounds a little dangerous. What's a burning glass?
Yeah, so apparently a burning glass was a device used in 18th century chemical studies for burning materials in a closed glass vessel. It did that by concentrating the rays of the sun, which allowed for the combustion to be trapped.
I can only hope that he only used it for his studies. Okay, thanks very much, Russell, for shedding light on this fascinating piece of history. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey through the Broadlands Estate archives. Do stay tuned for future episodes of the My Day Was an Idle One exhibition, where we continue to explore the hidden stories behind the treasures in our archives and special collections.